Whose skulls fell off.
Well, that's what happened the other week, so I wrote about it.
What?
A fella's skull has fell off.
What do you mean, his skull has fell off?
It's something to do with circulation.
But what do you mean his skull fell off?
Well, it's in the diary.
But how can a skull fall off? Because it's surrounded by tissue and it's got a brain. How can just his skull, how can it detach itself from all the stuff surrounding it?
He mislaid all his dreams.
But all I'm saying is, that's not getting a look in.
No, because it's not significant or probably true.
Good point, Steve.
I don't.
All right. Well, I'll just consult the diary quickly and find the moment with the man whose skull fell off. Oh, here we are. Yeah, looks like the world's fattest man is having an operation to get rid of some of the fat.
Yeah.
He has to have an iron bed because that's the only thing that can hold his weight.
Yeah.
There's also a man whose skull has fell out. He's in hospital somewhere. I hate that. It would make me panic. The hospital is busy with people coming in to look at their head.
What are you talking about there? That tells us nothing. Right, it's impossible for a skull to fall out.
How are scholars in 10,000 years going to be... What are they going to decipher from that?
They can sort of go...
There's not enough incident detail.
But how did his skull fall out?
Circulation problems.
But answer the question. How did his skull fall out? Fall out of what?
He was at home, and I don't know if he was combing his hair or something, but it come off.
What did?
His skull.
What do you mean, his skull? Do you know what the skull is?
It's a part of the head.
Well, no, it's the structure of the head. It's the bone. Do you mean the top of the skull?
This is only useful if you have all the salient facts. Then it would be of interest to us. We could.
Well, I couldn't take that on. I'm busy. I'm not going to start looking into stuff in depth. Just get the details.
God. You're such an idiot. You are the best, idiot in the world.
Well, I don't want to be premature, but that entry is followed by, I injured my toe the other day by dropping the toaster. Instead of letting it hit the floor, I tried to catch it with my foot. I didn't think I'd done any harm, but my nail looks like it could fall off. I might show it to the doctor when I get me kidney stones out. We could easily get by without nails on the feet. They are more trouble than they're worth.
You're so wrong. You're so wrong.
I think on the days when cavemen without shoes and animals need nails, I don't think we need them now. I honestly... Because you hear about ingrowing toenails, right? So that's a problem. You've got to cut them. Stuff gets under there and gets infected. Get rid of them. You won't have any of that. As long as you wear shoes.
No, you'd have unprotected toes and fingers, wouldn't you?
I didn't say on the fingers, just on the toes.
So why do you need them on the fingers and not the toes?
Because you use your hands to do stuff. I've said about toenail out. It'd be good to have it growing on the head.
What?
Just having like a sheet of it, just like a nail on the forehead. It wouldn't look weird because we'd all have it. I'm not saying.
What are you talking about now?
I'm just saying I don't want to go on about evolution stuff because we've done it all.
What do you think the skull is for?
No, but I mean on the outside, so that when you bang your head, it's a little bit more protection. Like people, I mean, you're looking at me like that. Why do you wear a helmet on a bike then?
Because the bike wasn't meant to be invented. We weren't meant to whiz along at 70 miles an hour with evolution.
I know, but because life's changing, like you've said.
But you can't go, let's evolve, let's re-evolve.
Okay, let's assume we've got this nail on our head that's growing out of our forehead.
So we look like one big thumb.
Yeah. Which weirdly, Karl kind of, I mean, you can almost imagine it looking at Karl now. You can imagine a big nail there. Does the nail continue to grow? Do we have to trim the head nail?
Yeah, in the same way you get a haircut.
Why is that preferable in your mind to just wearing a crash helmet in instances where you might have something hit your head?
Just because, for a start, helmets, you have to carry them around with you. That's one thing that's put me off having a motorbike. Whenever you see someone on a motorbike, it's all like the clothes they've got to wear. And it's like a big upheaval, isn't it? It's you know, if you have a car, you can get in with your shorts on, your flip-flops on. A motorbike, it's like you're an astronaut or something, you're only nipping down the road for some milk. Do you know what I mean? So, what I'm saying is get rid
But does it annoy you having to put shoes on every day, and underpants, and a vest, and I don't know...
No, but once they're on, I'm not carrying them. They're on me. If I had to then take the shorts off for whatever reason and walk around holding them, I'd go, I can't be bothered. I don't like holding a bag. I don't like bags. We carry too much around with us now. I don't like carrying stuff. It's just a hassle, isn't it?
It's just endless things he doesn't want to do, doesn't like doing, isn't like carrying bags. Who the hell has a gripe about carrying bags? Why is that a concern?
Because it's stuff that's on
I
you.
love the way that he wouldn't mind having a nail growing out of his fucking head, but he doesn't want to carry a bag.
What's good with it is everybody's got one of these. And
But it's not going to happen, Carl.
And the most important thing in your body, apart from the heart, is your brain. So protect that, not the toes. The toes we can get by
Please,
without the toes.
people.
But your head's important, isn't it? There's a lot of stuff in your head. And I know all this just after seeing the Bodyworks thing. I went to see it's a show on where there's a load of like dead bodies and that. And you can see how much stuff's in the body. And there's loads of stuff. There's nothing in there that you don't need. It's all doing stuff. Everything in your body.
We've been telling you that for years.
But you reckon you don't need the toenails?
Yeah, that's on the outside. I'm saying everything that's on the inside of your body, right?
You don't need the appendix.
No, but doesn't that depend on what lifestyle you have?
Well, it's a hangover of when we probably ate a lot more cellulose, and it's.
Yeah, well, they might come back. Things are always coming back, aren't they? So if people start eating them again.
What about male nipples?
Sort of looks all right though, doesn't it? Because the chest is quite plain, so with nothing on it, you'd go, oh, what's this? It just balances it out. I think it looks all right. I think it works. So leave it. But what were we talking about?
But wouldn't you rather have maybe a little like a rib cage around the testicles? Because you get a whack in them and it. Oh.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Not an invention, Carl. It's not an invention, and we can't do it. But
will you be able to sit down still? Because that's the good thing with them at the moment is movement. So it sort of works. But don't they say, they said something about testicles at the Bodyworks thing.
Well, they're on the outside.
Put yours away, Carl. You're not one of the exhibits.
They're on the outside because they have to be a few degrees below body temperature for the Sertoli cells to
So that's an odd design. That they had to go there because it's a bit of an odd place to have them.
Where would you suggest? Dangling from the throat?
Sort of.
I want to redesign you, right? You can possibly do this now. This is something you can actually do, probably. You could probably have your testicles anywhere. So where would you want them?
You've got a giant forehead nail.
Yeah. You could have that. It probably wouldn't grow, but we could certainly have that.
I just mean because if all it's about is temperature, you don't want to get them too hot.
Yeah.
Well, they're getting hot down there. You're wearing pants and what have you. So have them nearer to the outside of the body.
Well, they are on the outside of the body.
No, but we wear pants over them.
So you wear pants over them because they're testicles, and polite society suggests that you don't show your testicles.
Yeah, well, that's the odd thing, isn't it? That's what's happened somehow. That we've said testicles shouldn't be seen.
Well, then just cut a hole in your trousers. If it's only about keeping them cool, and because they're too hot, why don't you just hang them out your shorts?
Because there's too many sort of seats that are shared these days, isn't there? But what I'm saying is.
Well, what are you saying?
Where would you put them?
Somewhere like sort of under the ears, so it sort of just looks like lobes.
So you would redesign your body to have a pair of testicles hanging from your ears.
And when people are sometimes talking, they do sort of mess with their ears, and they're always saying check for lumps. More handy.
Does the penis remain where it is at the
moment? Leave that where it is. Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you, Rick, but I would love to see, perhaps on the web, it's very easy to put stuff on web pages now, some kind of illustration, could be computer generated, could be drawn by hand, of the new model Karl. Bear in mind, people, that he's got some testicles underneath his ears.
And a big thumbnail on his forehead. Talking to Karl, I want to see Karl's head everywhere. It's the roundness that I like, okay? So do a viral campaign. Anyone out there with a picture of Karl, just get it everywhere. Because I want eventually everyone to, as they walk past him in the street, to shout, "You shaved monkey," or "Look at that bald head," or "Look at fucking coconut face coming this way. You got a head like a fucking orange."
Well, Rick, you're not the only one who's been away. I know you've been off working, but I, at long last, have taken a bit of leisure time.
Go on.
And, you've probably heard of the Rio de Janeiro Carnival. Only one of the hottest, events in the world calendar. Yeah. Imagine me down there.
Oh,
Rio,
God.
You can imagine, did not know what hit it.
Oh, God almighty. Imagine, were you like Paul the Party Animal Parker?
He would not have been able to keep up if he was with me.
God, what did you do? What did you get up to?
Oh, let me tell you right now. day 1, I almost drowned. Day 2, I got a foot infection and spent the day in the hospital. And the rest of the time I had diarrhea. So that was a hell of a time.
Carnival.
Yeah, I did, I was able to watch some of the carnival on TV.
Oh,
and it looked brilliant. It looked amazing. I didn't actually, it was difficult to make out because the TV wasn't actually in my room. Because in an effort to save money, I wasn't staying in a hotel, I was staying with a bunch of other people in some kind of, like, someone's flat that they'd let out. And, so I had to watch the TV, like, from my window, watching a neighbour's TV. And of course, when they changed the channel, you know, often during the juicy bits, I couldn't see anything. And, but it looked really good. I'm bunged up at the moment just so I can get through the show. But I've just been on a 12-hour flight, and it is terrifying being on a flight when you know that any moment you could go. Because, you know, the problem is sometimes the toilet's free and sometimes it isn't, you've got to queue up. And the worst bit is that sort of half an hour just before you land when they say the toilets are out of bounds now. I'd say I went twice before that in quick succession. The woman sat next to the toilet. She didn't know what was going on, the noises and stuff in there. And because I was really panicky.
Oh, Christ.
And so of course then on the whole flight, as we're landing, I'm really petrified because I'm thinking I packed a pair of underpants and jeans in my bag, in my holdall, just in case it all went. And I was really, because I hate flying anyway, and I hate landing because it's the most terrifying moment of the journey. Then it really was rumbling, and I was thinking, I got to get out of here. Of course, you know when you're in a hurry, suddenly everything makes you angry. The little old lady in front of me who's just hobbling along off the gangplank, go away! Yeah. You know, just really annoying.
With your bad hips and your bad legs.
Your Zimmer frame.
I know you've been through a war, but get out of my way!
Yeah. And just anyone who kind of even passes you, and so I managed to get there just in time, got into and it all went off. Man alive, it was grim. But that was not anything compared with the first couple of days, because the first day I went for a walk, and of course Ipanema Beach is famous. I mean, obviously The Girl from Ipanema, one of the most famous songs in the world, and Ipanema Beach is famous for just the beautiful, beautiful people that gather there, and it is extraordinary. I mean, the people are remarkable. There's so many beautiful women in Rio, it made me angry. I was angry that these women were so attractive and that, you know, none of them were even looking at me. So, but anyway, I'm on the beach because I was shopping and I needed a wee. Right, and we went for a quick impromptu swim, and I thought, we in the sea.
Just think of him on this beach, right, with diarrhea.
Well, I'm wearing great big long shorts, because I'm not going to try and compete with these boys, because they
you are, could I say this, the whitest man I've ever met in my life. Yeah. I mean, with his shirt off, you can see his heart like a newborn fish.
Well, this was the thing. As I went into the sea to have a wee, there was a discussion about this.
As I went into the sea to have a wee?
Yeah. Well, I was desperate for a toilet, and I was shopping, so I thought, well, I'm never going to make it back to the hotel. So I'll go in the sea and have a little swim and
just I see him straining, just like a cat in a litter tray.
See, there was a discussion about this because I'm very much of the opinion that you should take your trunks down, and some people, some of my friends are saying, just do it in your trunks and let the sea just wash it away.
What a hell of a carnival!
And I think I'm against that. I've always been against that in swimming pools, everything, you know.
I'm against pissing in swimming pools. Full stop. It doesn't matter whether you take your trunks down or don't piss in the swimming pool.
Sea?
Yeah, well, fine, yeah.
Fine, okay, right.
Fish do it.
So anyway, I'm in the sea trying to urinate, and I kneeled because I'm obviously very tall, so it's tricky to get deep enough for the water to mask what you're up to. So I tried to kneel down in the water, right, and I got John Thomas out, but then the water swept out again and just left me on the beach. But luckily my back was to everyone, so no one saw. I
can't think of a funnier sight than Steve Merchant on his knees with his little John Thomas out. I don't know how big it is. I've never seen it. I imagine it's in proportion to the rest of it, is it?
I wish. That's all I'll say is I've been a little shortchanged. But so then I got up and I waded a bit deeper in, right? And now I was trying. I got it out. But what I didn't realise is that the waves just off the beach are really just uncontrollable. You never know what's going to happen. So one minute they're calm, and the next minute they're crazy like a tsunami. So suddenly I see this giant wave coming towards me, crashing towards me, and I got the cock out and everything, and it grabs this wave, comes over me, and lifts me up, and flips me up in the water, right? And I'm floundering around. I can't see anything because, of course, I had to take my glasses off to go in the sea. Because I didn't want to lose them.
Oh God!
So I floundering around, and I'm genuinely getting scared because as I try to get into shore, the wave just pulls me back again. So I'm waving to my friends on the beach, but
with everything.
Well, what I don't realise is that because I'm not wearing my glasses, I don't realise that I've been dragged along the beach some way, and I'm not actually waving to my friends. So there's like a bunch of these beautiful women on Ipanema Beach watching a pasty white man waving with his cock out. And what annoyed me was my friends were laughing. And that really angers me.
If I'd have been there, I would have burst.
But why wouldn't you have come running? Would you have come running in and helped me?
Not with your knob out.
What? So even though I was screaming and shouting?
I'd have thrown a rope or something, or a dinghy or something. There's no way I'd have. No, I couldn't have saved you with your glasses off and your knob out. If I ever save you, I want you to be fully dressed with your glasses on.
So you'd have just let me go. That would have been what you'd said to my parents. He had his knob out and his glasses off. There was no way I was gonna.
I can't think of a funnier sight. Oh.
A few months back, a girl who was having a kid showed me one of them scans of the kid that was in her. That's science gone mad, innit? I couldn't think of anything nice to say, as it looked like a frog.
Do you know why we've got to that point?
What?
Why have we got to see something that young? Why?
Because people can keep an eye on the progress of the baby in the womb.
Yeah, but why are they printing it out and stuff? Surely that's for a doctor to see.
Well, that's just an added bonus for people who are interested in such things.
That's like saying, why do you take pictures of anything?
No, because normally pictures are like, you in Brazil, sat in the sea or whatever. You'd go, oh yeah, I remember that day, it was a good day or whatever. But
it wasn't.
It's just kind of like, why have you got to see something? You might as well.
Well, listen. Why have you got to see something that small? So why would you take a picture of Steve in the sea?
No, but what I mean is, why? At what point are we going to stop? Are we going to start sort of X-raying the fella's testicles and saying, well, there it is at a really young age? Well, where are we going to stop?
It's just horses for courses, isn't it? Some people like to have a record of their baby in the womb. They like to show their baby. They're excited about it.
They sit down and they show the friends the slideshow. That's the birth. Oh, that's the conception. Oh, look, Ron's going a bit mad there, isn't he?
But why do I need to see this? This is what I'm saying. It was an awkward situation because she was happy with it. I was like, oh, God. Do you know what I mean? It was an odd-looking thing. I couldn't say, oh, it looks like you, because that would be a diss.
Oh, Christ!
Met Suzanne at Euston Station. I said I would sort out the tea tonight, so I called the curry house. The fella couldn't understand me. I asked for 2 poppadoms. He kept saying, how many? I kept saying 2. He still couldn't understand. I said 1 more than 1. He understood. When we picked up the food and took it home, there were 5 poppadoms in the bag.
Oh, God! Oh, God.
There is a restaurant somewhere that sells knobs to eat.
No, there's not.
There is.
No, there's not.
No, there is.
It says that women can't eat too many of them, and if you want a seal's knob for dinner, you have to book in advance.
Right, it's gobbledygook. This is the ramblings of a madman again.
It's a trend, he writes. It won't last long. It'll be like hummus.
But hummus, when did that happen?
What do you mean? It's still going. It's a Greek traditional food.
I know, but there's a restaurant down the road that's all they do. That isn't a proper meal. That's a side order, isn't it? That's like having a restaurant just flogging tomato ketchup. Hummus isn't a meal. They don't even try and kid you and get you in and flog you just hummus. They actually say it's hummus today. Not going to work. Be shut down within a month.
Called Ricky and asked what the difference is between the mind and the brain.
Yeah, he did.
That's a hell of a phone call to get.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Ricky did explain, but I can't remember what he said. I wondered at what age you are when the mind kicks in. Okay. Ricky changed the subject and said there is an island called Spider Island. There's nothing but spiders on it. A bloke went to visit the island and said there was 1,000 types of spider in one tree.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you that.
No, I looked it up after talking to you.
Oh, right. Is that true?
Yeah, they just said there's loads of them.
What do you think about that? What do you think of an island that's just full of spiders?
It's a bit daft, isn't it?
What do you think they should do then?
I don't know, because you need spiders. I don't know what they do, but they say a world without spiders, like, wouldn't be good.
Who says that?
I don't know, someone. But they sort of do something. There's something about if you did get rid of them all, it would have an effect.
Well, of course it would. Get rid of anything, it would have an effect.
Not everything, though. Like I've said, jellyfish and what have you.
Well, no.
The world wouldn't change.
Well, it would.
No, it wouldn't.
Well, it would, because it's part of an ecosystem, so they're something's food, aren't they?
No, but it's 97% water or something.
Yeah.
So, how much are they doing? Just give them another 3%, make them water. And that's more useful.
Give them another 3% and make them water. Oh, God.
The rain ain't stopped. The old woman with the bent neck. Now, we've not heard about the old woman with the bent neck before. She's a whole new character.
What's this? Incredible.
She's really old.
And she's got a bent neck, yeah, but tell us something else.
I don't know what's up with her, but her head sort of comes out of here.
It's radio. They can't see what you're doing.
It comes out of a chest. So from behind, it looks like she hasn't got an head. It's really weird, right? I mean, she's old, and I don't know what's happened. Just Suzanne said it's sad, and her bones have sort of bent up or something, or maybe she carried something heavy when she was younger.
On her head.
And, I don't know, it's sad and everything.
Yeah.
But she's wandering up and down the street, always looks fed up, but you can see her, you have to sort of bend down a little bit. But her head's just, I thought I'd told you about
She finds a lot of change.
I said, yeah.
Well, as you write in the diary, the old woman with the bent neck is struggling in the weather. The rain must be running down her back. Don't know why she went out in this weather. Me back's doing me head in today. It does this every time the weather turns a bit grim, ever since I tried to kick me height. Oh, remember that? We've heard this before. Kicked me height and landed on me arse. Was going to treat Suzanne to a trip to the pictures to see Breakback Mountain, but then remembered there is a programme on about Two-Headed Kid tonight.
What two-headed kid?
It's just a two-headed kid knocking about. And I just wanted to watch that.
What do you mean, a two-headed kid?
It was something on the telly. I only saw the beginning of it. I thought, oh, it seems a bit heavy, this.
The programme about the kid with two heads was a bit sad. They never go into the good sides of these stories. I asked Suzanne what happens if they sit an exam. She said she didn't know. Carl, as you're aware, you've obviously got many celebrity fans. David Bowie is a fan, people involved with creating The Simpsons. And you've also got a new fan, Warwick Davis, who is the short actor that many people will see in films like Return of the Jedi. He also is in Harry Potter. He's 3'6", and Ricky and I worked with him recently on extras. And far from asking us about the many celebrity names that we've worked with, the only person he was interested in talking about, of course, Mr. K. Pilkington.
He wanted to meet you, Carl.
Yeah. Well, is he all right to get on with?
Why wouldn't he be?
Just because sometimes when people aren't normal, it's just...
Sorry?
No, I just mean when someone, like, I've met a few little people in my time. The one that I met a little fella once, and he was all right. He got drunk really quick, but he was all right. But it took me by surprise, only because, like I've said about when I met Steve for the first time, it's only that same thing. And then if I lived with the little fella, I'm sure we'd get on a storm.
What do you mean when you met
There's
Steve?
a TV show waiting to happen.
What do you mean when you met Steve for the first time?
No, we've done it, when he walked in, it just a bit of, oh, he's different. But then, I see Steve every week, and, the same way I say I like watching Elephant Man, from the first time I watched it to the last, totally different. When he walks in the first time, it's like, oh God, look at that. It's a mess, isn't it? When I watch it again, it's kind of like, oh, here he is, here's John. So, it doesn't, things wear off. That's like the world, isn't it? Things don't amaze you as much as you see things and you use things often. And it's the same with the little fella you're talking about. First time I see him, I'd be a little bit like, oh, what do you say? What shouldn't I say? Whereas once you get to know him, I'm sure he'd be a lovely little fella.
I don't know where to start, Steve.
Well, Warwick, I think, suspected as much. He's offered you an interesting fact, actually. You're wearing headphones now. Apparently you wear those headphones for just 1 hour, and it will multiply the amount of bacteria in your ear by over 700 times.
But why is he worrying about that?
Well, he's not worrying about it. He thinks it's of interest to you because you're wearing headphones. It's part of your profession.
You wear headphones, yeah.
But Warwick asks, really, what are your thoughts on short people particularly in entertainment, because of course they've, throughout the ages, made an appearance, particularly in fiction. Tom Thumb, of course, the Oompa Loompas.
What do I think of them?
He's just wondering, I suppose, what your take is.
They're alright. I mean, when I was on jury duty, when you go in the morning, you have to go into a big sort of waiting room, and every day I'd sort of see one pop in, and he'd be sort of struggling getting on the chair, and it was kind of something to watch. It was different. That's what's good with things in life. If you look at stuff and you go, oh, look at that, and seeing him struggle on the chair, he was happy. He wasn't struggling in a way that he felt uncomfortable. He'd obviously climbed a lot of chairs in his time, and this was just another one. And watching him, it just makes you think. You go, I should appreciate that I don't have that problem every time I have to sit down and what have you. But I don't think it's that bad. If I had to pick being really tall or really small, I'd go for the really small one, because the world's a more interesting place for him, isn't it? Everything's bigger. Do you know what I mean? We go to New York and go, wow, look at this, and they go and they go, oh dear. Do you know what I mean? Everything's a lot bigger. Everything's more amazing. Food portions, everything's a bonus. So out of the two, I'd be small, and maybe that's what I'd chat to Warwick about for a bit, just to get to know him.
Brilliant.
It's a shame in a way that he's not been able to pop in. I'd like to hear that conversation.
But I've got, speaking of like weird stuff and that, I've got a new.
Well, we weren't, but go on.
No, got a new book. Do you know I had that Freaks book, Top 50 Freaks? Got a new one sent to me.
Really?
Yeah, and do you know, like, everything normally has a name. So, like, if it's the two-headed fella, they're all nicknames like that, aren't they?
They've got two nicknames, I imagine.
But this new book I've got, right, on the cover of this one, it's got, like, a woman with 3 breasts, right? And she's called the three-breasted woman, as you'd expect. And there's what else was in there? There's a fella, the one face.
Why is she posing nude though? That's what I want to know.
Showing off. It's not the worst disability, is it?
Well, just 'cause you've got 3 doesn't mean you have to get them out for the lads, does it?
Tart.
I know.
Well, she looked happy. And there was a fella with like one face but 2 bodies.
Doing one face but 2 bodies.
One face, 2 bodies.
What do you mean one face, 2 bodies?
Surely one head, 2 bodies.
Head as well, but it was mainly the face that was weird, because he looked fed up.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Without a head?
How can you have? What do you mean? How did it join to the neck?
No, it did have a head, but the fact is, it was weird that it had one face to me.
What do you mean?
Well,
if you've got one head, you'd have one face.
Yeah, I know, but it was the fact that he had one face and 2 bodies that I didn't think.
But why do you keep saying one face and 2 bodies as opposed to one head and 2 bodies? We're all the man with one face.
Yeah, but now I've got one body.
Yeah, well, surely he's the man with 2 bodies then. Again, the description.
Roll up, see the man with one face.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
He's just got, like, a face and then one neck, and then it splits off into 2 bodies. It's really weird. Honestly, it's weird. It was ages ago.
Well, no. No, it doesn't happen.
So it's full of stuff like that, right? And what I'm saying is, that fella, the one-faced man, the 3-breasted woman.
He wouldn't be known as the one-faced man, is what I'm saying.
Well,
that isn't the peculiar thing about him.
Yeah, well, they all had names like that.
Right.
But there was one thing in it that didn't even have a nickname. It was so weird.
What do you mean?
It just said unidentified.
What does it look like?
Sort of testicles for eyes. That's. It just reminded me when you.
What do you mean testicles for eyes?
And what is it? Did he have a normal body?
I didn't even look at that.
Oh,
so that's what I'm saying though. You're attracted to the oddness of the thing, and that's what I was saying about Warren when he walks in.
Warwick.
It'll be odd for a minute, and then I'm sure
for him it will be. Yeah.
He'll get used to you.
I mean, like I've said, I'm surprised that things like that don't happen more, because especially after being in hospital and seeing how the body works and that.
You have no idea how the body works.
No, honestly, I've got my head around it.
Right, you have no idea. You've learnt nothing.
You've
learnt nothing since the age of 7.
I've got my head around it a bit more, and the way that there's loads of people in the world, and yet you don't see people with like dangly eyes more often. it amazes me.
I love the fact that he's amazed by not seeing freaks.
Yeah.
It's incredible. He's walking down the street going, oh, everyone's got one head. That's weird.
Suzanne, see any dangly eyes today? No, me neither.
It's weird, isn't it? What's going on in the world?
Warwick's not been the only correspondent. We've had a number of people. Remember years ago we used to encourage people to send in questions, and those questions have been drifting in ever since, really. Just things that people want to throw at you, see how your mind works. Karl, do you mind answering a few? I suppose you might loosely term these philosophical questions, or at least questions that might help you think, ponder on some of the bigger ideas.
Yeah. This is your forte, Karl. Philosophy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Question 1. Karl, are all men born equal?
Well, we've talked about Warren.
Warwick?
Say if, like, the pillow man, right, the fellow with no arms and legs, if everyone was like that, he wouldn't be... that wouldn't be a disability. He'd be equal to everyone else, wouldn't he?
When someone fights for equality, it doesn't mean they want to be treated literally the same. For example, it's usually about a prejudice, isn't it? Or a lack of opportunity.
Yeah.
If you were... just to think of equal opportunities in terms of a job.
Yeah.
If you needed someone for a lookout on a lighthouse and a blind person went along, they couldn't do the job. Whereas if it was listening for stuff and you didn't give it to the blind person because you were worried about, blind people, that would be imposing a prejudice because he could hear as well as you. So if he was the best for that job, he should get it, despite his other disability.
But I'm pretty sure, your ears are important in a lighthouse.
I'm pretty sure he's come down on the wrong side of the argument, Steve.
Keep going.
Go on.
No, I just want to hear that, you know.
I mean, if they want to go for any job, go for it, but then don't moan if you don't get it. That's all I think.
Is that your equal opportunity statement?
That's your statement.
Well, I don't take anyone on, so I don't have all these worries, but I'm just saying, if I was in charge of that lighthouse and the deaf fella turned up, was he deaf or blind?
Well, it depends. I gave you
there
two
was
scenarios.
One of each. There was a deaf guy and a blind guy.
And no one else. I'll put another advert in.
Okay, well we've got another question here, which I suppose in some respects is along the same lines. Do you believe in the notion that history is written by the victors, and consequently?
Well, don't tell him what the upshot of that is.
No, I was going to say, and consequently, what does that mean?
Yeah, sorry.
And consequently, what does that mean for history as we understand it?
Just that stuff's written by the people who won it, type thing.
Won what?
Won whatever they did.
But what yeah.
Well, if it's a war, the ones who won it wrote it. But of course you're going to do that. That's what you do, isn't it? You shout about it if you win something. If you lose, you go, oh, don't talk about that, it's depressing.
No, doesn't mean that at all.
Or because they're not around.
Well, it means very often if someone has conquered a nation or set up a dominance somewhere, that they keep an eye on what goes out, what's propaganda or whatever, or what's taught in schools,
But it's even more significant than that, because it comes down to the very, very minute pieces of information that we see in every walk of life, Prior to black people having their freedom when they were slaves, history, or the history of black people, was not being written by black people. Therefore, it was always seen through white eyes, which often explained, justified, or excused, or dismissed, or didn't even mention many of the abhorrent things that happened. So it's hugely significant.
I suppose you can bring out 2 books. There's loads of books, isn't there? I brought one out. If I can get one out, let the losers bring one out. Is what I mean. Just let everyone have a book, and then you decide. Let people decide which one they want to read. I think they did it with some story where it was like you decide the end.
Okay, that was largely a pointless exercise, wasn't it?
He's got no idea. Karl, do you believe that the future is fixed? Do you believe that your life unfolds as a matter of destiny?
I've heard something about this, where there's some system that it is laid out for you, And even if you want, say if I wanted chicken for my tea, I really fancy having chicken. But when I get to the supermarket, the fella goes, "We haven't got any chicken, you're having beef." They say that was already laid out for you, and that day you were having beef. No matter what happened.
Fatalism. There's a slightly more attractive theory called determinism, where they say it's
well,
not
that's
so much.
If you want chicken, you'd go to the next supermarket and you'd go, "Well, I'm going to find it."
It doesn't mean it doesn't mean you're determined in that sense. Like you're definitely going to have chicken tonight. It means that it was determined, as in predetermined. But all determinism basically says is that it's not whether you can choose. It's whether you can choose your choice, because it's to do with brain states, and we think we have the illusion of free will because you go, "Oh, I have a drink, oh, I fancy Coke," but something in you happened that meant you wanted Coke.
Well, this is weird, right? Because do you know how I've been in hospital having me kidney stones done and what have you? Well, as they do in hospitals. And this is why I don't like going in them.
Did I just try and explain determinism to Karl Pilkington?
Yeah, I didn't want to stop you, but...
I mean, what am I thinking?
It just made you look more of an idiot than
I
him.
know, exactly. Yeah, I feel stupid.
Yeah. But I'm in hospital, right? And like I've said to you, the annoying thing is when you're in hospital, they didn't just have a play about with the kidney. Whilst they're there, they're fiddling about with other bits, right? And they're like, "Oh, let's have a
That's
feel."
libelous.
No, but that's what they do. Whilst you're in, let's have a, prod about. They took some blood, right? And they said to us, now the weird thing is, these kidney stones you had, it was probably caused by too much calcium, right?
That's what they are. They're a calcium build-up where you're not flushing it out, and so it's...
Yeah. Now, the weird thing is I don't like having cornflakes. So what I'm saying is, what you were just saying there is your mind or whatever. I've asked you before, I don't know what's in charge, but say like...
You don't, do you?
Say like when I get up in the morning, normally Suzanne will have some Rice Krispies, and she's like, "Do you want some? Right? Just have some." And I'm like, "No." Now that isn't me saying no. That's the calcium. That's my body going, "I don't need any milk. Don't give me milk. I'll have a crumpet."
Now bear in mind, Rick, that in the space of 3 minutes, we've gone from your definition of determinism to him having a lovely crumpet for breakfast. There's no one else in the world you can have a conversation with where you can make that distance that quickly.
But it is interesting how my body... Have you ever had it, right? Sometimes I can go ages...
No, your body lied to you, because your body said you don't need water, you don't need water, you don't need water.
No,
oh, yeah.
Like today before I left, Suzanne said, "What do you want?" Straight away I said, "I need some leeks." Now... that operation I've had has obviously taken out whatever leaks give me. I'm lacking on that.
See, I think he probably has it more than the rest of us, because I think he uses his subconscious more than us. We think about stuff. He is like the leech that is going on chemical memory. Yeah.
My mum phoned and said that my Auntie Nora, classic Auntie Nora, wanted me to look on the internet to find out what the weather will be like in Spain at the end of November. I don't know where she gets her money from. 2 months ago, she was asking me dad how much it would be to get her back garden astroturfed, because she's sick and tired of the grass getting out of her
What does she want to do? Start a football team? Why does she want a back garden astroturf?
She likes the sort of green look, but she doesn't like the headache that comes with it, so she's just looking into getting that false grass put in there.
Brilliant.
Don't know how much it is. But.
Went round to Ricky's and had some chicken curry that Ricky's girlfriend Jane had made. Ricky and Jane were going on holiday for a few days and had arranged for Glyn to come in and make sure the cat was okay while they were away. I'm sick of that cat. I was surprised that they hadn't paid for the little shit to go away with them on first class. Blimey, getting a bit vitriolic in the diary.
Why doesn't he like the fact that I've got a cat and I love the cat? Why?
It's just everything in that house that you've got gets sort of special treatment, and it's a cat. And
what do you mean you get special treatment?
Sometimes
we put food down for it, and sometimes it gets on our lap and we stroke it.
You don't just stroke it, you massage it. You massage its back, you go, "No, you're stressed out."
Well, no, it's good. No, I'm not saying you stressed out. At no point did I say you stressed out. You said, "What the fuck are you doing for? Is it stressed out or something?" I like touching my cat.
To be honest with you, I don't like Ricky's cat.
I can't believe
Because every time I go around there, it goes straight for Magoolis.
Yeah,
instantly.
He'd probably seen you in the sea and thought, well, if he's waving it about, I'll have a bit of that.
But it's like the lizard thing you've got. It's just sat there. You've bought a big box, right, to be in.
Right, it's a salamander, so it's an amphibian. It's not a box, it's a big vivarium.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
and
is...
And if you're going to criticise someone for just sitting there, having a round head and doing nothing with its life, people who live in glass houses, we've done this one.
Do you know what gets me though, right, Steve? When I was there, I was looking at it, and I thought, is it dead? Right, because he's just sat there... Like,
and it was thinking exactly the same fucking thing.
He sat there, not moving, right? And then, on the top of the box, is like a box full of crickets and stuff. That's... It's food, right? But they were more active than the thing that it was going to feed. Get rid of the lizards, keep them in there. More entertaining. Don't understand it. No, but there's places, say like there's places where they don't have telly, right? And they're not watching the news. They're still getting on with life.
Yes, they are,
and they're bogged down with their own problems, which is the way it should be. Say like at the moment I've got a leak in the bathroom, right?
Have you?
It's doing me head in. So... I put the telly on to get away from all that, and you put the news on, they go, oh, there's a, bad weather in what's it? You go, oh, don't tell me that as well. I like it when you hear about inventions that are coming out, or, stuff they're doing in science.
But you told me the other day that you thought everything that needs to be invented has been invented. Something they said in 1900. But, so what do you think?
Yeah, I mean... They are sort of playing around now. Like they've said they've made like a heart now that can be bunged into a body if yours isn't working and keep you going.
But why is a heart that you can bung into someone to save their life? Why is that a bad thing?
Just because it's another thing, isn't it? We're meant to die from the year dot. Things live. You have your bit. You knock about. And then you die. If you're going to live forever, how do you plan stuff? Right? That's the way I look at it.
Sure.
You sort of go...
How big would your diary be?
Well, that diary would become intimidating, wouldn't it?
This is what I'm saying.
You have to fill that in for the rest of eternity.
And you get bored. You get bored with living forever. And,
But I agree with you.
You get bored of people. You'd have to keep making new mates, wouldn't you? Because you've discussed everything by the time you're about 110.
110?
So it's kind of like...
Carl, you have the same concepts that you worked out and decided that were true at about 10, I think.
I look at life like a
box
big book. Like a big book.
Right, okay, yeah.
Right? And, sometimes you get halfway through it and you go, even though I've been enjoying it, I've had enough. Give us another book.
No. Your metaphor, analogy, whatever you're trying to create there, falls down with let's have another book.
Yeah.
No. You can either opt out of life or stick with it till the end. You can't go, be someone else now. You can't do that. I know you think you can. And I think in your world you can, you possibly be injected into an old woman's head when you've had enough and you come out a little baby.
What I mean is, at the moment, my life, I'm going to live to 74, 75, right?
Okay.
Right.
So yeah, I'm probably on page, what am I on? A book that's got about 200...
This is painful, Steve. This is really painful. Carry on.
I'm on, say if my book's got 300 pages in it.
Yeah.
Few pictures and that.
It's a picture book. That's the great thing about Carl's life. It's a book for children.
It's a pop-up book. Yeah. And it just, every page he pops in, he goes, alright.
Alright.
I'm probably on like page about 170.
Yeah.
He's gonna die at 74. He's reading a book with a few pictures in with 300 pages and he's on 170. Go on then.
So, right, if the book was too thick, right, and there was loads more pages
Let me tell you,
left,
this book is way too thick.
Yeah. If the book was more thick, yeah.
The book could not be thicker.
If there was loads more pages left, I'd go, I can't be bothered reading on.
Right. Okay, let him finish the analogy.
He must have known that when he saw the book.
We've got to finish this analogy, otherwise we're going to be here all night.
Listen, he must have known how many pages there were when he got the book out of the library.
Yeah, but the way they write books, they're painting pictures more at the beginning, you're going, this is good. And then it gets a bit boring as it goes on, doesn't it?
Okay, well that works. So you're saying that you were young...
No, it doesn't work. Well, you just accepted that that's what all books are like.
No, but there's a little bit of poetry in that, because he's actually saying that, when he was young, his whole life was ahead of him, he couldn't wait the whole world, the promise that he was given of this world, and now he's a bit jaded and he's more cynical, and he realises that the world hasn't got as much to offer him as he thought it was. Is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Liar.
Does the brain control you, or are you controlling the brain? I don't know if I'm in charge of mine.
Nor do I,
There's
Carl.
a surprise.
Nor do I, Carl.
No, do you know what I mean, though, by that?
Does the brain control you, or do you control the brain?
Like, don't you ever sort of think sometimes, say if you're making...
But you are the brain.
No, but I was making a shopping list, right? Going, right, I need some rice, kidney beans, and I thought I had everything, and I sort of was rolling up the paper, and then something went, oh, an onion.
Something went an onion. Was it Suzanne?
No, well, my brain sort of went, you forgot something.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd forgot.
You are your brain.
No, but don't you understand? My brain I was in control of my brain when I was writing down rice and kidney beans.
But you're not in charge of the onion. That's another part of the brain that's in charge of the onion.
The onion sector.
Yeah.
No, but I'd put the paper away, putting my coat on, ready to go and get the rice.
Yes, but your onion lobe kicked in.
What, so you put the paper in your pocket, you got the coat on, then you just suddenly hear
then
from
it
nowhere,
was just like,
onion.
Yeah, I'm not even thinking about that shopping list. It's in my pocket, I'm thinking, do I need my gloves, it's cold out.
Yeah.
Suddenly, onion. And it was like, oh yeah, onion, yeah, I had to get the paper out. So what I'm saying is, who's in charge?
The brain, the mind, the brain is the... What are you doing? Who's in charge?
That's just, you forgot the onion and then you remembered the onion. You must have forgotten things in the past.
No, but not like that. Not where, like, it just made me think, that was weird. Who reminded me of that?
You did.
Yeah, but I'm not...
No, you are your brain. It's not like there's you, then there's a brain, then there's an extra one looking down at it. The meta brain, the thing above it.
No, but your brain... How does your brain work? You give it information, don't you?
Well, it takes...
Do you mean you give it information?
Well, if I sat in a room with nothing, not feeding it anything, it wouldn't know anything.
No, but there's this thing there's two yous. It's this thing that there's
Carl and Carl's brain.
Yeah, there's not a duality in this. If you go, come on, now think. That's the brain saying that to itself. It's not, there's not two people in there having an argument come on, brain. And the brain's going, oh, don't you start, I was thinking then. And the other thing's going, brain, onion. And the brain goes, Carl, onion. You are your brain. If you are anything, you are your mind, your brain, your collection of memories, your personality. You're not what you look like. Does that answer your question, Carl? What did you think of then? You were thinking of a tortoise on a skateboard then when I did that last sentence, weren't you?
I, like you, Rick, I'm always annoyed and embarrassed when we have to concede something to Carl. And it seems though each week I look on the emails that we've got, and once again someone has found some evidence to support some of the nonsense that Carl has come out with. Now, you remember we were talking about his concept of putting a giant mirror on the moon, because why should we have to go into space? Then we could just look up at the moon and we'd see the Earth reflected back at us, and we'd think, that's the Earth. Isn't it great?
I can't see myself backing down on how ludicrous this is.
No, indeed. Although, someone, I think they're really being very picky. They were picking you up on a technical point, because I think one of your criticisms was the idea that the moon is moving and thus the mirror would, be absent from view for some time. Although people have been claiming that the moon, there's always the same face of the moon that's shown to us. There's always the same side of the moon is always visible to Earth. That's when they talk about the dark side of the moon. It's not just light. It's the fact that we can't see. It's the other side of the moon.
No, but we move, so it's not always present to...
Well, no, but it would always be present to someone on Earth.
Yes, I know. Wait, this is the thing. These people don't know what I know. I know that Carl is thinking of looking up there and seeing himself looking back. That's what he's hoping. Like when you're going along in a car and you see a shiny building, you go, oh, that's my car. And you wait. That's what he's hoping to see. He's not doing it to gauge the speed of light and think and change like that. He's not doing that. He wants to look up through a telescope and wave.
Yeah.
That's what they don't realise. I know what he's thinking.
Do you want to respond, Carl?
He's got... the problem with the moon is...
Here's a statement. The problem with the moon is... ...
Yeah. The problem with the Earth is there's too much water.
Yeah.
No, the moon... It's been around ages, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But it's got no history. It's got nothing to show for it. Just a load of old rocks and stuff. Yeah. And for me, history is created by stuff happening on it. So really, the moon, even though it's old, in a way it's new. Because it's untouched and that.
But we don't go to the moon to visit museums or arcades.
No, but say like
historical landmarks.
Henry VIII, right? You watch Antiques Roadshow or whatever, and some woman goes, "Oh, this plate you've got, this was Henry VIII's." And as you can see the knife marks on it. Oh look, there's some chicken on it, right? And you go, oh god, yeah, that's amazing. Then someone goes in and goes, here's a plate of Henry VIII's, but it hasn't been used, it's still in the box. You'd go, well, it's not as good, that. It's got no history.
No, because very often on the Antiques Roadshow, they have Henry VIII's plate with a bit of chicken on it. They kept that. Don't throw that away. Why? Arthur Negus are like that in a few hundred years' time.
No, but do you understand what I'm saying? Things are only good if stuff's happened on it. The moon, you're up there, you're having a look, you're going, no one else has even been here.
But you go to the moon for research purposes, for scientific research.
There, Steve.
What do you mean there's nothing there? They're examining the soil and the environment and the air.
It's just a long way to go.
Well, they're not doing that, are they? They're just not doing that.
Well, they're not, are they? Because last time they went up, they were playing golf or something. There's golf balls up there that they've been whacking about. What sort of research is that? That's what I'm saying. There's nothing up there, so why else would you go all that way and go, oh, nothing here. Fancy a knockabout? Why are they knocking golf balls about if there's really important stuff to look at? You don't see people in museums going, fancy having a knock some golf balls about? No, I'm looking at this vase. Oh, right, that's interesting. But on the moon, nothing. Nothing to look at. What other games have you brought? That's what I mean.
Now, of course, for those of you who have not been keeping abreast of Karl's medical complaints, just bring us up to speed, Karl. You had to go into hospital this week because previously you'd had
I've been
treatment.
in and out, honestly. I've been in and out of that hospital just with kidney problems, really painful and what have you. And
he had kidney stones, alright?
No, but seriously.
Monday. I had a bit of a lie-in today because I have to get up early for me operation tomorrow. Not only have I got to have tubes shoved up me knob, but I also have to get up at 5:50. Suzanne said I could have what I want for my last dinner. It's not your last dinner, you're going for an operation.
Yeah, but you can't take things for granted these days.
Oh,
I had shepherd's pie and peas. Suzanne made it from scratch. As nice as it was annoying. Because making stuff from scratch means loads of pots, and it's my job to do the washing up. So much as the food was nice, there was loads of pans and that. People who get their last dinner on death row don't have to wash up. Got up at 5:55. You were supposed to be getting up at 5:50 on the other page. You were 5 minutes late getting up.
He's often late.
Often late.
No, just because I needed to have water. Before 6 o'clock, they said, don't have anything after 6.
We'll get up at 5:50 then, like you were planning to. You had 5 minutes sleeping.
Doesn't take 10 minutes to have water, though, does it?
Well, why did you say 5:50 in the first time?
Because then it tricks me head, doesn't it? Going, oh, I had an extra 5 minutes.
Tricks me head. Because then it tricks me head.
It. Got to the hospital and had to wait in the waiting room. There was another 9 people in there waiting to be sorted. I got called in. They sat me on a bed and took all my details down. 5 minutes later, I'd been knocked out. I got woke up when they were ripping a pipe out of my throat. I felt more rough this time. The doctor came to see me and said he couldn't find a stone, so I must have passed it. I said, are you sure? He said, yeah, we filled your kidney with water and expanded it, and there was no hiding place. I sat in the recovery room for an hour while they found me a bed. One of the fellows who was sat in the room with me this morning got wheeled in. They couldn't wake him up. All the nurses were laughing because he didn't want to wake up. I bet they were laughing at me when I was in the theatre. Someone told me they totally strip you when they're operating. I would have looked like the alien on the Boswell incident.
Boswell! Boswell!
It's quite a nice analogy if it weren't for the fact that you said Boswell. It's the Roswell incident. Didn't sleep much through the night because there was a 60-year-old fella shouting at the nurse about his pillows. I don't think I slept through a full hour with one thing or another going on. My bed was next to the toilet, so I kept hearing the flush.
How do they sleep in hospitals, though? They wake you up to give you fucking sleeping pills and things, don't they? How do you sleep in there? It's always hot. It's always like 90 degrees.
There's no air.
Is that to make you drink water?
I don't know what it is. There's no air. There was an old fella across from me who kept breaking wind. He didn't even try and cover it. He was just of that age where he didn't care. Just like, that's what I do. I'm in the hospital, leave me alone.
What do you mean?
Just, I don't know what was wrong with him. I talked to him because at first I felt sorry for him. I was a little bit like, you know, he's had no visitors. No one's calling him up, so I'll talk to him. But then he got that familiar with me that he'd just be doing it whilst I'm chatting to him. Just like he's my granddad or something. It's just like, oh, that's what he does. It's like, well, I'm ill as well. Stop doing that. honestly unbelievable. He didn't even try and cover it with a cough. It was just like, that's...
with a cough! How would you cover it with a cough?
Just non-stop.
Got home and sat down. My pains are coming back, but the doctor said this would happen and that my insides are still in shock, so I need to take it easy. It's 9 o'clock. I'm in agony. I can't do the diary for the rest of the day. Jesus. So you may as well just tell us then what happened.
Right, well, yeah, after that, went back in. Suzanne just got frustrated with me because I was rolling about on the floor and she was trying to watch Arthur, right? So that was on the other night.
I thought it was with your lodger.
So,
and she said, look, if you're in pain, do something. She said, you know...
You went and got a cold plate.
Yeah. No, use an ashtray. Plates are for liver damage.
She said, right, come on. Let's, I can't put up with this. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. So we left the flat and what have you. Got in a taxi. He filled up on the way, which was annoying.
He didn't.
That is cheeky.
That really, I mean, he could
On the way to the hospital.
So,
because he's not an ambulance driver.
Did you explain that where you were going
I
to?
was in that sort of thing where you just can't be bothered. Do you know what I mean? I was in a sweat and stuff.
He came back with a scratch card and some barbecue.
Briquettes, yeah.
So anyway, he gets us there and he doesn't charge us, which is pretty decent.
Oh, that's alright, yeah.
So I go in and there's like, I don't know if you've been in like A&E at like,
Grim,
2:30 in the morning. It's just depressing. Fluorescent light doesn't help because it makes everyone look iller than they actually are. So, in there was a woman who was just sat there crying. She wasn't holding onto any part of her body, she was just sat there whinging. And when you're feeling bad, you've got that going on. So you just want to tell her to shut up. There was a fella who was like moped over in a wheelchair that someone had just chucked in.
Moped over?
It looked like somebody had just sort of found him and wheeled him in.
Nurse? Who's the guy moped over?
So this gay fella came through. And,
How do you know he was gay?
Just the way he was. I'm not having a go. He was a good fella. Do you know what I mean?
A doctor, you mean?
No, he was a nurse.
Right.
And he came through and just sort of went, "Oh, how are you?" And I was like, "Oh, I've had better days." So he got
As
me
you
on
mentioned in the diary, I remember the first time when I came here, they said the nurse might put a tablet up my arse. I thought the chances of that happening had just increased.
Oh, Carl!
Yeah, but I would have let him do it. Honestly, I was that sort of out of it.
Of course you'd let him do it. He's a qualified nurse.
No, but the way I am now, say if it was just a tablet for sorting out my blood pressure, and I walked in there and he went, "Oh, hello," and he said, "Yeah, let's pop that." I'd go, "Hang on a minute." But what I mean is that night I would have just let him put 3 up. Honestly, it's just weird, isn't it? How your body just goes, let him get on with it, and you trust anyone, don't you? When you're in that much pain and you need.
And they're a qualified nurse, yes.
They gave me some morphine, and my sort of head caved in again like last time, and then the pain went. But anyway, just turns out that I'd had a load of like blood clots in the bit from my kidney to my bladder, and that was acting as a sort of a stone again.
No, it's just a scab, isn't it, where it's curing it? So.
No, but all the work, when they blew up the kidney 4 times its normal size, so there was no hiding place for the stone.
Yeah.
So when they did that, it caused a lot of blood. It must have ripped the sides of it and stuff. And then that blood was in the kidney, and it went down the pipe and blocked it up a little bit. And that's the pain that I had. It was sort of, had problems getting through all this thick blood that they caused. So, the weirdest thing that happened when I was in there, right, the morning, like, after I'd had the morphine and what have you, right, I slept pretty well. But I woke up, and you have, like, a telly for your own bed, that you're allowed to use if you pay for it, right? So the glow from that woke me up because they come on at about 7:10, and the telly's in front of your head, right? So you're getting this glow and you're going, "Oh, what's that now?" And I looked at it, and all it had written on it is, "Karl received bad news about your father." Right? And I was like, is this what they do now? Because it's such a big hospital, did they just text you sort of news to your bed? And I was kind of like, like I say, it was early, it was 7:10 or whatever. Thinking, what's going on? I didn't have my mobile. Suzanne took that. And I was looking at it, I read it again, I thought, it might come up with more, like, what's up with him? Turns out it was just a review for Neighbours. It just tells you... it tells you what's on the telly that day. And there's some fella in Neighbours who's called Karl, whose dad went bad. So that sort of woke me up a bit. I had a bit of a shock then. It was kind of like... So I was wide awake at like 7:15 in the morning because my heart went a bit fast because I thought something had happened to my dad.
Karl, of course, has written a poem about the experience, entitled My Ward.
All I've done here, I've been through I don't know what the word is, a bad experience.
Trauma?
A trauma, yeah, I've been through a load of trauma. So I'm just finishing it off with a little sort of picture for people.
Go on then.
In my ward. It's called my ward. Me, a Chinese fella, and an old bloke who looked like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. Don't know what was wrong with him, but breaking wind was the symptoms. No one visited him or called him. He seemed quite lost to me. As well as wind problems, he had a colostomy. When I left, I said see you to the old man. Turned out the other fella wasn't Chinese. He was from Japan. I never found out what was up with him. You've got a little picture there, haven't you, of me sat in my ward. I'm sat there with that fella who I didn't talk to, the old fella who had wind problems. And that's what a poem is, isn't it?
But the detail about you thought he was Chinese and he turned out to be Japanese, how is that evocative? That's just a piece of misinformation.
It's just
I like it.
I imagine a lot of people make
I
that
like
same
it, because
mistake.
you know why? It's like, he even makes digressions within his poem.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, he could have gone back and erased that, but he didn't. He left that digression in, and I think that's great.
It's very honest.
Yeah. So, you've done quite a few bits there from the diary, right? The other week you were saying a diary to sort of be famous and what have you, it's got to have a big event in it. That's a big event in my life, right? Peeps did a diary that had big events in it. You said about the fire on Pudding Lane. I've had a kidney stone here.
You write about puddings you've had.
So, is that as big as... Is that a proper diary thing?
It's a proper diary anyway.
I think, personally, the 5 or 6 pages you've written about your ill health are genuinely interesting, and I'm sure, in years to come, it will be an interesting evocation of the NHS at this modern age, and how it is, what it's like to be in hospital.
What other diaries are out there?
Well, a lot of them are fictional, of course. Bridget Jones and the like. There are lots of memoirs, but to
I
publish a
don't
whole
know
diary,
why.
I mean, you can
Well,
get...
the two most famous diaries, I'd have thought, was Pepys and Anne Frank.
But
Yeah.
Kenneth Williams' diaries were published after his death. Many celebrity diaries have been published. Alec Guinness, people like that.
And is that just their last year, or did they do it when they were doing a lot? Because if they're old and sort of not working well, a diary isn't that good.
Well, often the moments, prior to their passing are some of the most interesting. You see their final thoughts and final days.
Yeah, but are they just... You say different things when you're ill. When I was on that table about to go under and you're thinking this might be it, different thoughts on the world. Do you know what I mean? Different priorities.
What's the most profound thing that you thought that it was because of your illness?
Just as I went under, the last thing I said to this woman was, "Oh, you look different with that on." And
Oh, you look different with a hat on.
yeah, it was the woman who gave me the injection, and she'd been round to the bed beforehand, sort of saying, "Right, you're allergic to this. Can you eat strawberries?" And I was a bit like, "Why are you asking me that?" And she went, "Well, no, a lot of people are allergic to strawberries." And I was saying, "But is there any trace of strawberries in the stuff?" And she's like, "No, it's just that a lot of people are." And I said, "Well, no, I eat them." And then she's like, "What about fish?" And I said, "I like some, but I haven't had them all." And and then she turned to Suzanne at that point and said, "Do you know of anything he can't eat?" She sort of said,
like turning to the mother.
Yeah.
When the child can't answer.
but she was this woman, and she didn't have a hat on or anything. And then when I went down there, I didn't realise it was the same woman until I was lying there and she started to inject me. And I just said, "Oh, you look different with that on." And then I went out, and when I woke up, the woman sort of came round and just sort of said, "Oh, it's weird that was the last thing, like you said." And that made me think that could have been my last, like fight 'em on the beaches or whatever. That could have been my little thing.
You look different with a hat on, Karl Pilkington.
Oh, God.
In its own way, it's quite wise. People do look different with hats on.
I think his last words would be something like, "Can this kill you?"
Yeah. Suzanne, can you drink bleach?